Hey guys, what's up? Evan from Stock Music Musician, and I apologize. I've got a bit of a throat cold today, so that's why my voice is so husky. But today I've got a little lesson on being creative with editing hip hop vocals. So in my last lesson, I showed one of the most important techniques for editing hip hop vocals, and that, or any vocals really, is to go through and edit out the silences, the breaths, the final consonants like think and sleep and those sorts of sounds, or maybe the first consonants like beep or plop or whatever. So go and check that video out because that's really important. It also has to do a lot with setting levels so that your compressors don't have to work as hard, and that is hugely important for modern sounding vocals. But today I want to talk about something a little different, and this is about wearing your producer's hat to create sort of a creative manipulation of vocals, to create new parts, to add energy to a song. So some of the rappers that I create with, they prefer to freestyle instead of doing pre-writing songs. And so a lot of the way that'll work is I'll have like a rough beat for them, let's say 70-80% finished, and they come in, they'll spit over it, and then I'll sort of tweak their vocals, find the good takes, move the music around a bit, sort of create verses and choruses or build-ups and breakdowns out of that. Then they'll come in again and we'll sort of iterate a few times around. It's not the most efficient way, but it's really fun, and I think we get some good results. So this is a song here where, it's not finished. I need to have the second rapper come in and rap on top of this, especially this section that I'm going to show you right now. What I kind of want to do is have multiple people singing the same parts. But what I want to show you first is kind of the original, somewhat of the original vocal, and then how I edited it to become almost an ending chorus. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one more. Nope, we don't want to hear that. Create audio track. This is just so you guys can hear this. I'm going to copy this and paste it, but no. All right, we'll bring you down, copy, paste you, and then push you. Nope, stop everything. All right, so we'll take this vocal here, and should be at 0. Okay, 0, and we'll stretch it out. So this is how it would normally have sounded without any edits. So I'm going to mute all the edited vocals that I'm going to do. In this song, and also I'm just going to say, in this song I haven't gone through and muted any parts or done anything with the levels. In my workflow, I first try to get the arrangement of the song down, and then sort of leveling and editing for a better performance is something that I reserve till right before mixing. So let's listen to this as it was recorded. And I'll just turn up the volume so you can hear a bit more, since so that was freestyle. There's some really good things in there, but also it's a little bit muddy. It's a little bit all over the place. And so I'm going to let you listen to that one more time, and then I'll show you sort of how I edited that into a chorus, and then, or I'll show you the results of editing it into a chorus, and then I'll show you how I did it.
Crack is the sound, crack is the noun and the verb and the action rhyme that's coming back, and you know that that's when we gonna do it again.
Okay, so that's where we started from, and now let's sort of, this, I'm going to say this still hasn't been mixed, so it's not, oh, come on. So it's not finished yet, but this is more or less where we came out with.
Crack is the sound, crack is the noun and the verb and the action rhyme that's coming back, and you know that that's when we gonna do it again, doing it. Crack is the sound, crack is the
So it sort of creates this almost hypnotic refrain. The crack really is cueing off of the snare drum cracking. And so that involves sort of, and actually let's get that original track back here. So let's solo this, and I'll show you what I took out. So you can see this first section is right from here. So it's
Crack is the
and then I adjusted the timing of this next line so it sits a little faster.
crack is the sound. Crack.
Basically took this and just shifted it a bit here. Took this and maybe shifted it back a bit so that you have more of a
Crack is the sound. Crack.
so
Crack is the sound.
and let's compare that to this guy.
Crack is the sound.
And I think I time stretched this a little bit so that it fits just a little bit better. By holding down Control, you can edit the times. So maybe it's something more like this.
Crack is the sound.
Not sure. Let's see. Maybe moved it forward a bit.
Crack is the sound.
And before we go any further, I'd just like to take a moment to ask you to like this page if you're enjoying this video so far. Subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more tutorials coming up. And also leave a comment if you've got any ideas or anything you'd like to share. Okay, so continuing. So we go to this.
Crack is the sound. Just the noun and the verb and the action. Rhyme is coming back.
So as it was originally recorded, this all would have sort of just flowed together. Oh, let's do the original.
Crack is the noun and the verb and the
So this next phrase really starts right here.
the noun and the verb and the action. Rhyme is coming back. You know that that's when we gonna do it again.
So I changed the location of it a bit.
Just the noun and the verb and the action. Rhyme is coming back, and you
But
know that that's
pretty
when
much
we
left
gonna
this
do it again.
intact. I moved a few slices by clicking slice edit mode just to tighten things up a bit. And then I sort of cued off. Okay, so that's how I got the main idea. That was mostly from that clip. So now let's listen to it from the beginning.
Crack is the sound. Just the noun and the verb and the action. Rhyme is coming back, and you know that that's when we gonna do it again.
And so since he ends up with do it again, I kind of got the idea, like, why don't we just repeat this? It sort of has a nice sound to it. So earlier in this take, let's see, is it here?
Never stop. And your goblins are gonna.
No, so it's here. So a lot of this vocal take we're not using, but I think this one right here is where.
After the white whale, except he's not, he's got tiny hands, and we fucking ruined his grasp on his fuck.
I don't know. So a lot of these takes we're not using. But maybe it's right here.
Coming and you won't be acquitted, it's nasty.
Oh, well, I don't know. Somewhere I found him saying again. So, and actually here we go. We can just get this whole bit right here just by playing this part. So let's solo this.
Don't get it, motherfuckers coming and you won't be acquitted, it's nasty. Motherfucking doing it, do it.
So it started out as it's nasty motherfucking doing it.
Don't get it, motherfuckers coming and you won't be acquitted, it's nasty. Motherfucking doing it.
So, but let's undo it back to its final stage. Instead, I wanted to just take the doing it and pair that with doing it again. So listen to this.
You know that that's when we gonna do it again. Doing it. Crack is the.
And so these need to come up a little bit, a little forward, just to fit in, but.
Gonna do it again. Doing it. Crack is the sound. Just the noun and the verb.
So that gets us most of the way there. But then I wanted to have more rhythm to fill in the space. And so I took the crack from either here or here. It's hard to know where to get a good crack these days, but and I inserted it here rhythmically. They could actually really be one track, and I probably should just do it that way. Well, I'll do that later. And then I processed them so they're pitched down, and I'll show you how I did that in a sec. But listen to it now, just from a rhythmic standpoint.
Crack is the sound. Quirk is the noun and the verb and the action. Rhyme is coming back, and you know that that's where we gonna do it again. Doing it. Crack is the sound. Quirk is the noun and the verb and the action. Rhyme is coming back, and you know that that's where we gonna do it again. Doing it. Crack is the.
So the loop point's a little messed up, and I gotta bring these forward a little bit. A lot of this is just fine tuning. But you hear how this really builds up, and like into a really cool rhythmic repetition. And so I want to, yeah, this auto monitoring is a lot of fun. So we'll go to this channel and go to the rack, and actually I've bussed the two to a bus, but it doesn't really need to be on a bus. Actually, wait, let's go back. So the first thing I did here was I pitched these down using the transpose function, down 5 semitones. And I previously made a video about how you can sample from the sequencer as well. And this is sort of that same technique, but you can check that video out. So I pitched these down, and then we go to the Neptune. And I use the Neptune's formant feature. And I could have done this on the sequencer too, but I don't know, I did it here. Just to give it a little more robotic sense. And then I used a pulverizer just to grit it up. And finally, a little bit of echo. And I still don't have the right amount on it. This is definitely still a work in progress, getting the exact right delay and echo on it. But let's just listen to that section, and I'll crank up the volume. Not just listen to that section, but listen for that section.
Crack is the sound. Quirk is the noun and the verb and the action. Rhyme is coming back, and you know that.
Right, I know why they need to be on separate channels, because I have one pan to the left and one pan to the right. So that's why I did it on 2 channels. But I don't want it to be like aggressively obvious. I just want it to be sort of in the background rhythmically.
Crack is the sound. Quirk is the noun and the verb and the action. Rhyme is coming back, and you know that that's where we gonna do it again. Doing it.
So then from there, when Vince comes in, I'm gonna have him start layering vocals on top of this, probably rapping the same thing, starting in the middle, and we're sort of gonna start entwining it and building it up. But this is pretty much where we're starting off from. You can see how, as a producer, you've got a lot of flexibility if you have good raw material and you know how to use your DAW, know how to edit, know your chops and all of that, to come up with really creative parts that weren't in the original song. And I'm sure this is going to inspire the MCs to come up with some other really fun stuff on top of it. And so, you know, it depends on the relationship you have with each musician that you work with. But if they're into this sort of thing, it can really be a lot of fun. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this informative.